11 over-unders.
I was actually going to make a home road split joke, but it was going to be a month split joke. Wade Miley in September, more like Fade Miley in September. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys can do the over-unders now. I'm done.
All right, the first over-under, since we're talking about contracts and since we're talking about Scott Boras, how about his new client? Over-under $340 million for Carlos Correa. Aram, I'll throw it to you first.
So much money.
So much money. This is what Jack did.
Okay, let me be clear. I love Correa. Like I wrote, and remember, I sold Jack on Correa being the number one free agent like mid-season or towards maybe the final quarter of the season after I wrote that piece. I still wouldn't give him it, but somebody's going to. Over.
Jack?
Sorry, I say over. I coughed because that's a ludicrous amount of money. If Seeger got 325, I think Correa is just an objectively better baseball player. And I think he gets 350.
That's where I differ from you guys. I'm not totally sold that Carlos Correa is a better baseball player than Corey Seager. I'm not sold on that. And I don't know if front offices are either. I don't know if we're just waiting for the number one shortstop, and we might not see Carlos Correa get 10 years, $300 million. And since it's at 340, I'm going under, because if it is going to be more than Seager, I don't think it's going to be that much more.
I think coming off of a year where he wins a platinum glove, he, has the most durable season of his career. Both guys have durability issues, so I'd say that's kind of a wash. Obviously, Seager has the better bat, but I just look at a shortstop like Correa. He's 27. I think he's going to get more. I just really do. I think it's fair. Like, I know you love Corey Seager, but Correa just turned 27, coming off of a career year. I feel like he's just kind of figured it out. And I don't know how you can put.
Doesn't it worry you though that he's coming off a career year right before he hits free agency? That's my thing.
Not necessarily. Like, that's sometimes it just means he's peaking, right? Like, his K rate was at an all-time low. His walk rate's at an all-time high. He played the best defense of his career. He played the most games he's ever played. He hit for the most power he's hit for. I don't know, like, what else you got to see from him. And not to mention, Corey Seager's defense has been really spotty, like really spotty.
I just feel like with shifting and stuff, I don't value infield defense as highly as some other people do, but that's my thing. I like the better
shortstop defense is
agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, shortstop defense is vital. It's absolutely vital.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'd be sticking any guy at shortstop.
Tony Kemp. Putting Tony Kemp.
I don't see Corey Seager's defense as a liability. I guess he's just not elite like Carlos Correa was last year. But
you're talking platinum glove.
Right. Correa is like platinum glove, like the elite of the elite, like best infield arm I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's elite, no doubt.
It's elite. So,
but
Correa,
it was the best last year.
Yeah, age thing,
his whole career.
Age thing, I call it a wash because Seager's about 6 months older than Correa. That doesn't matter to me when you're handing out long-term deals. If you're looking at career OPS plus, Seager's 131, Correa's 127. So, like, very near, but give the hitting edge to Seager. I think the defensive, the defensive difference between the two is so much farther Correa, and the offensive difference is Seager, but by a little bit. So overall, I'm just taking Correa.
I think when you look at cumulative numbers, you're correct. But when I watch Corey Seager, like Corey Seager with the bat can take over playoff series by himself. I haven't seen Carlos Correa been able to do that. Like, this guy can legit win you playoff series by yourself.
He's one of the most clutch playoff performers all time. Already.
Not more than Seager.
No, statistically speaking, he is.
Statistically speaking, is he a better playoff hitter than Corey Seager?
I think he is.
Probably. Let's check it out.
Jack, you pull that up. The other thing I'm going to mention is it's worth noting that Corey Seager got this deal off of a season where he only played 95 games. So this is off of a season where he played sub 100 games. He got this massive deal, whereas Correa is coming off of a season where he played the most games he's ever played. And I think teams are going to be more optimistic in that. Like, this is a guy that didn't quell his injury concern in his contract year. So I think that matters. Like, I think people are going to look at the Correa situation and say, okay, like I'm feeling better off of the year he came off of, like 95 games and they gave him that money. That's nuts.
Okay. You ready?
What you got, Jack?
I've got for Carlos Correa in 79 postseason games, he's got an 849 OPS, 18 bombs, 59 RBIs, 79 games. Corey Seeger in 61 postseason games has a 777 OPS with 13 bombs and 36 RBIs. So Correa is about 75 points better in the OPS department in the postseason than Seeger is.
That's interesting. It's interesting. Okay.
And he played 50 more games than him last year.
Yeah.
Okay. I still want Seeger, but okay. We'll move on.
Stand your ground.
Seager's bat more. I still like Seager's bat more. And I'd rather have Corey Seager on my team than Carlos Correa. That's just me.
I think this goes deep into some maybe like some history, some internal history.
I don't think that's fair. As the unbiased journalist on this show, I think that's just hurting my character.
Yeah,
and hurting my feelings.
I don't mean to damage you. That's not what I meant to do. It would be an understandable gripe to have.
Can I just bring up before we move on that Peter grilled me yesterday for saying that he's the only one that takes a side on things, and I'm the unbiased one.
I took a side.
Yeah,
I want Corey Seager.
If anybody's unbiased, it's me.
You have no reason to take the side other than I like when I see him, right? Like that's it.
I think Corey Seager,
he looks pretty
for the next 10 years, is the player I'd want at shortstop.
For what reason?
On my team.
For what reason though?
I still think he's a better bat. I still think he's a better bat. And I value that bat over what I think I'm going to see for the next 10 years from Carlos Correa at the plate.
So I'll leave it at this. You value this much better offense over this much better defense?
I think that's shorting it to an argument that is just not true. I don't think it's this versus this.
He just gave the numbers.
I understand, but I don't think it's just because of the OPS totals. Like Carlos Correa is also like a 300 hitter versus Carlos Correa is not. Like there's just a lot of different things that Corey Seager does at the plate that Carlos Correa does not. I think Corey Seager has more better power. I think he's better bat to ball skills. I think his bat is going to translate longer. And I like the lefty bat. I take Corey Seager.
He doesn't have more power though. I mean, I think Correa averages more home runs per season.
Let's see. I've got it up. Standard hitting. In 162 game average, Carlos Correa is at 29 homers, 109 driven in. 162 game average for Corey Seager, 26 homers, 93 driven in. So 26 bombs for Seager, 29 for Correa.
What else do we have to do here?
All right,
let's move on.
Number 2. All right, which next? Oh, yeah, let's start with Padres. Over under 10 starts for Mackenzie Gore in 2022. Jack, I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I'd say over, because I'm pro letting him figure it out at the big league level. I brought that up earlier this week. I think that you should give him 10 to 15 starts. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And that might be the end of the Mackenzie Gore era in San Diego. Really? I think you need 12 starts for Mackenzie Gore to make a decision on Mackenzie Gore. I don't think another year in El Paso is going to tell you anything about Mackenzie Gore. It's time.
Aram, what about you?
I want to give a tip of the cap to Peter on this one because I thought this was a phenomenal hypothetical because, excuse me, when I don't know what the hell to do, like when I can talk myself into either side of it, that's when you know it's a phenomenal hypothetical. So tip of the cap to you on that one, Peter. This is a good one. Dude, it is hard because I get where Jack's coming from on that one. But at the same time, I look at Gore and I'm like, this guy has a lot of internal things I think he needs to sort out, right? And like that could be figured out on a backfield. You got to do it in the games, obviously, but like a lot of this is mechanical stuff. And the second you bring him up to the big leagues, everybody can see him struggle. Everybody's going to see everything. I mean, we talk about how the Padres keep their data close to their vest. Like they keep it close. Gore's struggles were kept under wraps for the most part. Now people know, but they don't know the severity. They don't know exactly what the issues are. The second you bring him up to the big leagues and he struggles, it's front and center for everybody.
Hey, Aram, we mentioned it on the call up yesterday. Mackenzie Gore didn't make an appearance for 2 months, and there was no injury designation on him.
Correct.
He just disappeared for 2 months. Like, that's what the Padres do. If there was ever a Mackenzie Gore question, it's, yeah, we're talking to Mac about that, like that type of thing. It's just so under the radar.
That's why I'm going to go under.
I also kind of lean under it. And it's not just because of Mackenzie Gore. I just don't know if they think that he's fully ready yet. And the Padres have so many good starters in this rotation that I don't think that they're going to try and make Mackenzie Gore work if he's not working quickly and initially, I guess.
Is it bad that I'm just anticipating health issues with that starting rotation?
No, not at all. Because that's very possible.
It happens every year.
But there's 7 of them.
Yeah, but like 3 might get hurt. And then who's the 5th? Don't let it be Jake Arrieta again.
Could be.
Didn't he retire?
Remember Vince Velasquez too?
Yeah, Vince Velasquez.
Fade that guy a lot.
Yeah, overs
on that guy. I'm gonna go under for just for that reason, but I think it's gonna be interesting. I hope we're wrong on that. Obviously, I just think it was such a struggle for him. He still struggled in terms of his command in the Arizona Fall League, though there was a lot of better things there. I think they're going to really, if he's finally figuring it out, I feel like they're going to really want him to build on that and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. And he's going to have to make 20 starts in the minors. So I think it's going to have to be a 911 emergency for us to see him at the big league level.
I think that's fair. So the next one, over under, still sitting with the Padres week, over under 2.5 MVPs in Fernando Tatis Jr.'s career. Aram, you first.
Oh God. Like MVPs are so hard to win. We talked about this like with the Hall of Fame stuff, right?
I know.
It's all about when you have your big years, right? You could have a massive year and then some other freak show has a bigger year. I always look at the Trout MVP miss, right? Where it went to Cabrera because he won the Triple Crown. Yeah, it probably should have went to Trout anyways, but Cabrera won the freaking Triple Crown. Like we talked about this when we were talking about Vladdy, right? What if Vladdy gets the Triple Crown? Like, does he somehow dethrone Ohtani? And we all agreed that it was no, but it was like a conversation. And that's with Ohtani being a pioneer. So it's a timing thing, but I think that Tatis is just so wildly productive that he's going to do it year in and year out. And I think he's going to catch some seasons where not that many guys are coming off the charts in terms of their offensive production. I'm going to take over, but like, damn, man, that's absurd. 3 MVPs, 3 MVPs.
But you're taking the over.
I'm taking the over. But like, wow.
So Jack, you go.
You want to hear the nicest thing I've ever seen?
Sure.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is 69 days younger than Juan Soto. Nice, right?
Nice.
I think as long as Juan Soto and Fernando Tatis Jr. are in the National League, they just kind of cancel each other out. And like, I think Soto's going to win every MVP and Tatis might not. I'm going to go under. I think Tatis is a 2-time MVP in his career.
I'm going to go over. Alex Rodriguez had 3 MVPs.
You think he's A-Rod?
I do think he's A-Rod. And I also think that Juan Soto, well, certainly Ronald Acuna Jr. as well, is going to be fighting for MVPs. Bryce Harper, they're going to be fighting for MVPs as well. I think the shortstop position bodes well for Tatis moving forward. And I think if he can improve on defense, and if he just puts up 45 bombs and he steals 30 bases and he drives in 120 and he's hitting near 300, there's going to be years where Juan Soto might be a little bit better offensively. But if the Padres are really good, because Soto's team isn't going to be that good.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, so Tatis could just win it due to that and having similar offensive production. But then if he's good at short, I think he could win 3 or 4, to be honest.
You got to remember that Tatis is probably going to move out to left because of Javier Reyes' trade with Eric Hosmer going to Kansas City and Bobby Witt coming back.
That's a good point. Who says
you're also wrong because in left field is going to be Jorge Alfaro.
Sorry.
So
Tatis might catch.
Play. Yeah,
Tatis might actually catch.
Utility guy. But I agree with Peter in the respect that, like, I think it's going to be a while for the Nats. So for the next 2-3 years, I mean, he was in the Hall of Fame, the MVP conversation. this year. But what really killed him was the fact that his team sucked. And I think that's going to continue to kill him. And I think it's going to affect which I'm going to get to when we talk about Soto. It's going to affect some of his counting stats because of how bad his team is. I think that Tatis might get it next year, but this is the window. He has to get one of them in the next 3 seasons, or else it's going to get really tough, because then you're going to have either Soto on a good Nats team. You're going to have some other players starting to emerge. It's going to be interesting, but yeah, I like the over.
I think he wins one next year. All right, next one. Over under 40 home runs for Shohei Ohtani in 2022. Jack, you first.
Under.
Okay. Why?
I think he hits 39.
I do think that he's going to be prolific, because I think this is more of a conversation of, do you think he can repeat it?
I don't think he can repeat the offense to the degree, because we did see a decent amount of swing and miss from him.
We did. Yeah. Almost a 30% strikeout rate. That's something that kind of goes untalked about with Shohei. 30%.
Like right. 29. And the more plate appearances, the more success you have at the plate, the more focus opposing pitchers put on you. Obviously, people were going to focus on Shohei Ohtani, especially with Mike Trout out. But now, like, it's Trout and Ohtani. Like, that's the offense that you worry about if you're a pitcher getting ready to face the Anaheim Angels. So I think seeing Shohei Ohtani get however many plate appearances he just got in 2021, Shohei Ohtani got 639 plate appearances. That's 639 times that opposing pitchers can gather data on him. I think they're understanding what gets swings and misses from him. I also think if he wants to take a step up in any facet of his game, it's probably on the pitcher's mound this coming year. I could see him actually being a better pitcher and still one of the best hitters in baseball, but not best hitter in baseball like he was.
Another tip of the cap to Peter on this one. This is another tough one, because, obviously we know he has the ability to hit comfortably 40 home runs. I mean, we saw him do it. I do have a level of concern with how the league figured him out to a degree in the second half, but I also was really encouraged by his finish in September, where there was a tangible difference in his approach. He went from, swinging a ton as he realized he was going to see less and less to hit. He toned it down, and he walked a ton in September and October. I think it was 23% walk rate in that final month of the season, cut the K rate down too. Didn't have quite the production though, because he just blatantly wasn't swinging as much. I lean no, but the idea of Rendon and Trout being back in this lineup, Trout serving as protection on either side of him, as is Rendon, figuring that he's sandwiched between those guys, that really does help, because remember, this is a team that really had no protection for Ohtani, but in the second half whatsoever. And Ohtani, a lot of the damage he did in the first half, Trout was there for some of that. I'm going to lean no, though, because he could hit 35 and have a phenomenal season, and we're not going to be like, what happened to Ohtani this year? I think that's where he's going to be, more 30 to 35 range with strides on the mound, like Jack said.
Real quick, I want to throw one right back to you that isn't on our list right now, but it pertains to Ohtani. He had a 372 OBP in 2021. Does he outperform that or underperform that?
I think he gets on base more and homers less.
Yeah.
So it's the WRC plus might be pretty consistent. Like, I think he's still going to be the same offensive value for the most part, but I do think we're going to see slightly less home runs, because he doesn't have to do it all by himself. He doesn't need to go yard. He can walk so Trout can hit him in, or, he can walk and load the bases up because they already intentionally walked Trout before him. I think that he's going to feel comfortable being more patient and not trying to win the game by himself, little league style, like he had to do when he was on the mound, pitching 6 shutout and then hitting the only home run of the game. He doesn't have to be that little league superstar anymore.
It's funny, Aram. I agree with you, but I'm going over, because I think that there's a shot that he starts selling out more for power with Anthony Rendon possibly getting on base. I think Shohei Ohtani might hit 4th in that lineup, maybe with Trout Rendon in front of him, and he's actually starts to sell out for power. Maybe he doesn't care about the batting average as much anymore. Maybe he stops putting more emphasis on his speed so he can stay healthy for the mound. And he's just like, you know what? I'm the power hitter on this team. So that's why I'm almost like, I think he could hit 250 next year, strike out 30% of the time again. The OBP is a little bit higher, and the home runs are actually, considerably at the same rate. I would go over 40, quite honestly.
Well, I like that idea too, because It really is almost dependent on where he is in the lineup because
really
if Trout's on first, you're not going to walk Ohtani to maybe Rendon's behind him or Walsh is behind him, whoever. You're not putting two men on to face Rendon or Walsh. You're going to try to go after Ohtani. Like it's still, I don't care who it is, unless it's Barry Bonds. You're going to go after them for the most part, unless Ohtani's on a crazy run. If Trout's standing on first, which he's going to be doing more than 4 out of 10 times, probably, if he's batting ahead of him, Ohtani's going to see a lot more to hit. So I think it's interesting how the psychology can go both ways, but I think we know that it's going to go one way or another. He's not going to stay in the status quo. I think he's going to go one way or another, which I think we're all in agreement on.
Well, and that's the thing. So like Ohtani can go on those runs. We saw him go on those 7 to 10 game runs. If anybody is going to do the 22 homer June, like Sammy Sosa did in 98, I think it's Shohei Ohtani that's currently playing right
Mike
now.
Trout, which is crazy.
I think Ohtani is more conducive to like 22 bombs in 30 games. You know
I
what
agree.
mean?
I'm just saying, would Eddie be surprised if Trout did it?
Fuck
no.
Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. All right, next one. Next one is a good one. We're going back to home runs. All right. Over under 50 home runs by a player in 2022. Jack.
I'm going to go over. And I agree with you. I think Pete Alonso is the home run king. I think Pete Alonso goes over 50 bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Aram?
Totally agree.
I totally agree. I think Pete Alonso hits over 50 bombs next year. I think. Is he a top 5 first baseman?
Because Ryan Finkelstein wrote.
Let me give you 5 though. Let me give you 5.
Okay, go.
Vladdy.
Are we counting Vladdy as a first baseman?
Yeah.
Yes. Vladdy, Freddie, Matty O, Matt Olson, Paul Goldschmidt, Max Muncy. Then you're like, shit, wait, he can't fit. But then you also have Jose Abreu.
I think he could dethrone Paul Goldschmidt with a big year next year.
Goldschmidt's so good though, bro.
I agree.
I agree, but good, and he's so good defensively.
But if he hits 50 home runs next year, and the thing that I really like about Alonso is something that Ryan Finkelstein wrote for justbaseball.com was about his defense and how he's gone from a liability to actually an above average defender, which is really interesting. Obviously not Goldschmidt caliber, but he's not a liability over there like a Vladdy. Obviously Vladdy's incredible offensively, but what I really like about Alonso is that he gave us that massive home run rookie season. He had a iffy 2020. Then last year he came out and he looked like a more complete hitter, like lower K rate, like really low K rate compared to before, higher walk rate, higher contact rate. And I feel like he's going to marry those two now. He found a way to make more consistent contact. And now I think he's going to have more confidence cutting loose and finding a balance of like more contact, more power. Not to mention the lineup is freaking loaded, absolutely loaded. I think he's going to finish this year as a top 5 first baseman because I think Goldschmidt, he's not getting any younger. I love Gold. He's one of my favorite players of our like lifetime kind of. I'm putting him in ahead of him by the end of this year. So I think he's going to hit 50. Not to mention also we had 2 dudes finish with 48 last year. Ohtani had 46, Semien had 45. Tatis would have waltzed to 50 if he played the whole season. Yeah. So I think no doubt we're getting multiple 50s, I'm going to say.
The more I think about it, I think Tatis is going to hit 50 bombs and win the MVP. Mm-hmm. That's the more I think
possibility.
That's going to happen. I think that's going to happen. All right, next one. Same thing, but different stat. Over under 50 stolen bases by a player in 2022. This hasn't happened in a while, and stolen bases continue to decrease in terms of the rate of guys trying to steal bases. So Aram, over under 50 stolen bases for a player in 2022.
So we would have had one guy have 50 stolen bases last year, and it would have been Starling Marte had he not missed 42 games during the season with, I believe it was an oblique injury. That was crazy to even see Marte doing that. I don't think he's going to run that much next year. And given that Trey Turner even toned it down a little bit last season, only swiping 32, that's the only guy I'm looking at to steal that many bases. That Tatis is probably capable of it if he really wanted to, but he's not going 50, to. 50, the old 50-50 season.
How about Acuna? Yeah.
So my answer is no. Yeah, because all of the guys that could do it, either Marte's aging, Acuna's off an ACL, Tatis has injury concern. He's going to be careful. Trey Turner's shown to scale it back a little bit. all of the candidates are, like Peter said, it's trending backwards, and all of the biggest candidates are kind of doing the same.
Jack, what about you?
Under. I think the trends that we're seeing, right? People don't want to run as much. Catchers are getting better. Pitchers are placing more of an emphasis on being quick to the plate. So I say under, but then I pose this question to you guys. Who is the next person to steal 50 bags in a season?
See, I was thinking about going over just because I think there's a chance that Whit Merrifield steals 50 bases next year, but I am not confident enough in that to actually go over. If I'm just looking at some other players that Aram didn't name, you could put Whit Merrifield in there, but I agree. I just don't think anyone's getting 50 stolen bases. So I can't give you a name. I just go under.
I'm saying down the road, like 3 years, 4 years, however long it may be.
CJ Abrams. CJ Abrams.
That's the answer. We're tying up Padres week with CJ Abrams. Being the next guy to steal 50 bags.
I think he might be the next guy to steal 60.
That's a lot of bags.
I think he could.
Really fast.
The crazy thing about Merrifield, though, is he swiped 40, hit 720 plate appearances, which is hilarious.
I know.
But it was a down year for him.
Yeah.
He only got on base at a 317 clip. You imagine he gets on base. I can't do the math that great, but if he gets on at a 350 clip, he's probably swiping 10 more bags, and he's right there at 50. So, I mean, that's probably the guy that I think has the best chance next year too. I agree. But long-term, Abrams is the dude that's going to do it. I don't know what the deal is with Buxton, if they're going to let him run free.
No. Yeah,
Buxton's healthy. He's doing it. He's doing it. But I don't know if they'll let him run.
All right. Next question. Over under 4.5 pitchers to go over 200 innings in 2022. So we only had 4 pitchers do it this year. Do we think we get one more next year who could do it, Jack? What do you think?
So my gut reaction was under, because I think that era of baseball is gone. But I'm saying over because I think last year was an outlier because of the 60-game season in 2020. I think there were a lot more soft tissue things going on. I think with another full season under pitchers' belts, they're going to be healthier. And I think Walker Buehler is going to get there. I think Wheeler is going to get there again. I think Sandy's going to get there again. If Wainwright doesn't get shelled, which I don't think he will, I think he's going to get there again. That's already 4. And I think somebody else is going to get there, whether that be Garrett Cole or
Corbin
whether that
Burns.
be right.
I hope
Burns.
Jacob DeGrom. Like, remember, Jacob DeGrom got hurt. Corbin Burns. I agree. Aram, I don't think we have anything else to add. I think I totally agree. I would go over.
Marlins will have 2 by themselves.
Yeah, Sandy and who?
The second.
Trevor Rogers.
I think Trevor's getting 200 this year.
Trevor missed 6 weeks last year with a family issue. He pitched 133 innings. He missed about 7 starts. He would have been just shy. But what I love is he said, I want to match Sandy for innings. And if Trevor Rogers says he's going to do something, I believe it. And Sandy was pissed that he didn't pitch more innings. So they might both just go 300. But I think Sandy's a shoo-in for 200. I think Rogers' issue is he doesn't go deep enough into starts. So jokes aside, he might finish just short, but Sandy's a shoo-in. Bueller's a shoo-in. Yeah, I agree. And then Cole is just a machine.
I think Urias is going to throw.
I think he's as close to a shoo-in. Yeah.
Urias, as long as he's healthy, is as close to a shoo-in as possible. And,
how about Logan Webb with how many ground balls he gets?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's the guys that get ground balls. That's why Sandy's so great. It's like they keep the pitch count down and
double play. Yeah.
Hot take.
It's 7 innings.
John Gray throws over 200 innings for the Texas Rangers. I'm not even kidding.
I don't even think it's that crazy. I don't even think that's that crazy. I
think
agree.
They're going to run him into the ground. I think they're going to
ruin his life.
He's going to throw 290 innings. They could care less about the ERA, which is like, we need pitchers. John Gray. All right, next one. Over under 2.5 teams with 100+ wins. Aram, I'll throw it to you. So we know the Rays, the Dodgers, and the Giants last year won over 100 games, and you're wearing your fun differential shirt for those Seattle Mariners if you're watching on YouTube. So, Aram, over under 2.5 teams win 100 games in 2022.
Seattle's winning 110. Just got to call up. Okay, well, the one thing that I will say is obviously Seattle's not going to win 100, but like the problem is teams like Seattle that are going to make it hard for other teams to win 100. Like, I think we're seeing much more parity in baseball, which is great. You know, we want to see that. We want to see less of the tanking teams. And I think a lot of those tanking teams, for the most part, have gotten better. And remember when we went into last year, Peter, you were in Florida. I remember we were just talking about it. And we're looking at the Pirates and we're like, is this the worst team ever? and you know, they actually were preseason. We were looking at it. This is the worst team ever. They had Reynolds end up, you know, going off. Yeah. And they had some prospects come up and help. But still they were bad. Like there's going to be some bad teams next year, but I don't know if there's as many that are like, this team is atrocious.
Agreed.
And I think that's going to make it harder to win 100 games, but I'm still going to take that over because I think the Giants are going to take a step back. So the Dodgers, I would sign them up for 100. I would sign up. The thing that concerns me is the AL East. They're all too good.
They're all too good.
I don't think anybody
were all
wins
really
100
good
out of the
last
AL
year
East.
too, and the Rays still did it. Like, it's not like the AL East took such a big jump this offseason.
Let me say something about the AL East.
The Yankees suck right now.
Let me say real quick that I think Baltimore is going to win more games this year than I might take the
Wait,
we talk about always taking
what makes
the
you
under.
think that? What makes you think that? What did they do?
Adley
and now the AL
G-Rod?
East, if we're thinking it's better, I mean, I don't know if it is, but
Adley, G-Rod, we know what Mountcastle can do. We know what
are Adley and G-Rod going to make major contributions in 2022?
Better than whatever the fuck they had running out there.
Yeah, dude, you saw that pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, no, I just, how much are they going to play in 2022? We think they will.
I think Adley will play a lot. I don't know about G-Rod as much. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna take the under.
I'm also taking the under.
Taking the under.
I think it's going to be the Rays and the Dodgers, and that's it.
I don't think an AL.
And I don't even know about the Rays.
I think the Dodgers do it, and man, like even the White Sox is a team that could do it. Like I think Cleveland's going to be better. We know the Tigers are better. The Royals are better. The Twins won't be worse. Astros, they won't because the Mariners are better, and the Angels will be better, and the Rangers are better. Like this is what I'm saying. Like all of these teams are improving.
Agreed.
The one that could do it, I think, is the Braves, because assume the Braves bring back Freddie Freeman, Braves/Mets, whichever team really goes above and beyond. The Phillies aren't that good. The Marlins are the Marlins. The Nationals suck. So that's a division, I think, where you can beat up on some of the other teams. And if you split with each other, I could see one of those two teams doing it. But even that's a stretch. Under.
I don't see the Braves or the Mets. Or the Mets are going to win 20 more games than they did last year. Like the Braves are going to win 12 more.
I mean, sure,
I don't know. But then again, we saw what the Giants did. The Giants won like 30 more, so it can happen.
You're replacing Tylor McGill with Max Scherzer. With Max Scherzer. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I agree. That big of a difference.
20 is the biggest jump ever, but the Mets also have done things that we've never seen a team do or rarely see a team do, like from year to year, where like they add Starling Marte in a spot where we saw Kevin Pillar last year, right?
Kevin Pillar had some big moments though.
Yeah, he did. He got hit in the face and then played like a day later.
He was a stud. Sort of.
Lindor can't be worse.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be interesting, but yeah, I'm taking under. I think so. We all say under.
I'm saying under. Jack, you saying under?
Yeah.
Jack tried to talk himself into the White Sox and couldn't do it.
No, I tried talking myself into one team from the AL East and I couldn't do it.
No, they're going to beat up. It's going to be a blood. We should almost just add an AL East podcast because like that's going to be a bloodbath.
Thing is, the Rays just own every single team in this division.
Yeah, but like
in the regular season, it's like it doesn't even matter who's on the other team because they have their plans for you, and then it's over, and then you lose 2 out of 3 without even knowing what happened.
You're forgetting that the Red Sox just signed Michael Wacha and James Paxton.
I didn't forget. See, that's where they make that extra jump. Okay,
yeah.
All right, now I'm on your side again.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Over under. This is a good one by Jack. Over under a 440 on base percentage for Juan Soto. Ooh. Jack, you came up with this one. What do you think?
Yeah, I came up with it because he was at 490 in 2020 and he was at 465 in 2021. And I thought there's no fucking way that he does that again. And then I was thinking about it and I kept on shifting the number. I had it again at 460. And I was like, that might be a little high. And then I was like, okay, let's move it down to 410. And I was like, no, he's going to be so much better than 410.
Yeah.
440, I think, is the right placement for this thing, which is crazy. And somebody just said it. I'm totally blanking on who said it. I'll find it. Somebody just said yesterday, a player said that Juan Soto is the most disciplined hitter they have ever seen. And he's 22 years old. So not only is he maybe the best hitter on planet Earth right now, but he's also the most disciplined hitter on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I'm going over for this reason. Well, not this reason only, but this is the biggest reason. Who's going to hit behind Juan Soto?
Exactly.
Nobody.
Why
in your right mind would you ever throw to Juan Soto if you're facing this Nationals lineup? We just talked with Tucker Davidson, and he was saying when he goes in and faces these NL East lineups, he mentioned, I'm not going to let Bryce Harper beat me on the Phillies, and I'm certainly not going to let Juan Soto beat me on the Nationals. And I'm sure that's a sentiment that all of them share.
So walk the shit out of him.
Just walk him.
Marcus Stroman. It was Stroman that said Juan Soto has the best zone judgment and plate discipline out of any hitter ever to play this game. And I truly believe that. Love competing against him. He's a legend already. He's 22 years old.
There's a YouTube video that's like 4 minutes long. You guys got to check it out. I don't know which channel, but it's just Juan Soto 0-2 counts taking a walk. It's like 4 minutes long. It's great.
It's unbelievable. And again, I was going to make the same point that Peter made. It's just, why would you pitch to him? I think he's going to hit like 28 homers because he's legit not going to see anything to hit. And he's going to get on base, I think, at like a 490 clip. I think what we saw in the second half is a little clue into what we're going to see this year, because the second half was a lineup that lost a lot of the juice it had, especially Kyle Schwarber, who was most of the protection, as well as Trey Turner getting on base for Soto so that they didn't just walk him. You're not going to walk, similar to what I was saying with Trout, you're not going to walk Soto to put Trey Turner on second base who could score on like a bunt. So it's like that's just not going to happen. So all of the protection went away and nobody pitched to him. And I think that's what we're going to see next year to a ridiculous degree. I think Soto's going to get really annoyed and frustrated, to be honest. I think he wouldn't it be nice if he just said, I want out, and we see the biggest trade package ever.
Over under half a broken bat over his leg when he's just so freaking pissed if he strikes out one time during the season.
He walks 3 times and K's once on a borderline 3-2 pitch.
Whack.
Say under.
I'll go under. I think
he'll take the over on that. Yeah. I think he's going to get so pissed. So we're all on the over train.
Yeah.
Over.
All right. Over under 2.5 playoff teams from the NL West. Aram, I think the Dodgers are going to make it. I'm not counting out the Giants, but then it's Padres versus Mets for that second wild card spot. And quite honestly, these are two of the teams. How can you guess? What do you do? What do you think?
I'm going to say under, because
under, huh?
I think one, they're going to beat up on each other. This Padres team allowed the Giants and the Dodgers to thrive last year because of how bad they were. Assuming the Padres are better, that's going to come at the expense a little bit of the Dodgers and the Giants. I look at the Central. I like the moves that the Brewers have made quietly. They have made some good moves. The Cubs are rebuilding still, no matter what they want to pretend they're doing. That's not a good team. The Pirates aren't good. The Reds got worse. The Brewers are going to beat up. The Cardinals are going to beat up on other teams too. I think the Cardinals are going to be a very, very high-end wild card team. And then we talked about the Mets and the Braves. I think there's just too many irons in the fire, and the odds are stacked against 3 teams in the NL West.
This is a hard question because we have no idea what the postseason is going to look like, right? There's a chance that
we're assuming under a traditional,
assuming traditional.
Assuming traditional, I will say under, because again, like Aram said, I do like the NL Central this year. I think that the Cardinals are really good, and I like the moves that Milwaukee made. So you've got, I think San Francisco and the Dodgers are going to make it. I think the Padres are going to be fighting with the Brewers or the Cardinals in the Central and the Phillies in the East for that second wild card spot. Like I could see 2-2-1 from each division.
The Phillies would mean that one of the Braves or the Mets are not in the fold.
Right.
Who is not in the fold?
I think the Braves are going to win the division again.
So you think the Mets are not even going to be in wild card contention?
No, I think they're going to be in wild card contention. Misspoke there. So like you've got the Mets, you've got the Phillies, you've got the Brewers. Okay, in the East, legitimate playoff teams: Atlanta, Philly, the Mets.
Marlins.
In the Central, shut up. In the Central, St. Louis, Milwaukee. In the West, LA, San Francisco, San Diego. Just playing the numbers game, I think we go under 2.5.
It's too many irons in the fire, like I said.
Yeah.
Probability wise. Peter's like, do I just fire out the scolding hot take right now?
Well, Tatis is going to hit 50 and be the MVP.
Tatis is going 50-50.
Okay.
50-50, yeah.
So, and I've said this on earlier podcasts, I'm like, I don't want to give the Padres credit for something that they haven't earned. But then when I look across the other teams, what have the Mets earned? You know, if the Cardinals don't go on that historic 17-game win streak, and a lot of things ended up working out for them, Adam Wainwright, will he do that again? Are they a playoff team? The Braves, if they don't re-sign Freddie, there's a problem there. This one is the toughest one in my opinion. Just to be different, I will go over, but it's not a confident over for everything you guys said. So, but I do think that this could be the Padres' year, and I'm certainly not betting against the Giants. It could be the Giants don't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
the Padres do, and then maybe one of the Mets, Braves, or Cardinals, Brewers.
Let's not sleep
certainly
on
not counting out those teams either. I also don't think Philly is.
I think there's a world where the Giants take a massive step back. Like, yes, we're applauding the Giants for what they've done and what they've built. Like, they've done a great job. But no matter how forward thinking and incredible you are of a front office, it's pretty darn hard to replace a Hall of Fame catcher, to replace $100 million pitcher, and to offset natural aging of Evan Longoria, Brandon Crawford, and Brandon Belt and other pieces. Like, it's just tough. And Donovan Solano, I think if he walks, like, that's an underrated piece for you too. Yastrzemski took a step back. Like, there's a world here where this team takes a massive step back. And even if they're forward thinking and a really good franchise, I think that's very possible.
Next one, last one, over under 1.5 playoff teams from the AL West. Now, will the Oakland A's sell? What will the Angels do this year? Fun differential, are the Mariners for real? And the Astros lost Carlos Correa, most likely, but they're getting back Justin Verlander. I lean over because I think the Astros are going to make it, and I think the Angels are going to make it. And if the Angels don't make it, I think the Mariners have a really good shot. I don't think Oakland, and I don't think Texas. But I think with how good those three teams are, but the AL East, dude, like, that's where it gets.
Yeah. Think about it. The AL West and the AL East are going to beat the living shit out of each other all year long.
And I think the Central, whoever is going to, I think someone could make the playoffs out of the Central with like 88 wins. I know, Jack, you're like, oh, the White Sox are winning 90. I could see someone winning the Central with 88 wins.
I could see Cleveland being really fucking good this year.
Because I think it's
really
going to be
fucking good, dude.
Yeah,
not really fucking.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I think that staff puts together like a top 3 ERA in baseball, and I think the offense is a lot better than it was last year when they got no hit every other game.
It's definitely better. I just think the West and the East are going to obliterate the Central for the most part. And I think the Central's going to beat up on each other. Again, there's no pushover in that division, really. There's no absolute garbage team in that division. The Tigers are obviously better, as I said earlier, and the Twins are obviously, I think, better still than they were.
Can't be worse. They can't be worse.
They can't be worse.
Be better too.
So the reason why I like two teams out of the AL West is this. The Angels are always that team that we're like hoping will put it together finally.
Yeah.
If they don't, I still think the Astros are winning that division. I really do. I think that even if you lose Carlos Correa, which is a big blow, their offense is going to still be one of the best in baseball because you're having Kyle Tucker, who looked like an MVP the second half of the season, who's going to be that guy, I think, for the rest of his career. You have Yordan Alvarez, who's going to keep taking those steps up. You have, I think, Bregman, who started to show more signs of life, and I think he'll be closer to where you want him to be. And then also, I really, really like Jeremy Pena at shortstop. I actually think this guy's going to be a piece for them in the second half. And not to mention, Baseball Prospectus just put out their top 100 list or top 101. Jeremy Pena at 16. At 16.
That's high.
Crazy.
Right after
Crazy.
Noel V. Marte, right?
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think that's too high. But I love the glove. The bat, I think you only need that guy to hit ninth for you. And great glove, sneaky power, good athlete. Regardless, I think that they're going to compete. And then the Mariners are another one that I think could sneakily do it. Fun differential. But the reason why I like the Mariners is they're getting so much better from a veteran standpoint. And then they're a team that Jack and I talked about in that prospect episode. They're one of the teams that has one of the few prospects that's actually going to come in and help you like you added a free agent. Adding Julio Rodriguez is like adding a stud free agent, like Wander Franco was to the Rays. Their numbers are pretty similar through their minor league careers, almost identical, minus the K rates, but it's not like Julio struck out a ton. Yeah. And then the pitching side of things, the Mariners got a vet. And then they have a bajillion young guys that, like, if another guy doesn't work, just try another young dude. Like, you have Robbie Ray, who you added. You have Marco Gonzalez, who's a solid depth piece. Chris Flexen was good. Gilbert showed really well at the end of the year. Justin Dunn, when healthy, is great. And then if you want to go with any of your young guys, if each of them doesn't pan out, if Dunn doesn't work, you have Matt Brash. If Matt Brash doesn't work, you have Brandon Williamson. If Brandon Williamson doesn't work, you have George Kirby. If George Kirby doesn't work, Emerson Hancock might be ready by then. Like, you have infinite amount of guys.
Isn't Isaiah Campbell still in that system too? Arkansas, big kid from Arkansas, really good. I love my college arms.
Bullpen guy, but could be a good bullpen guy. Like, this is a
oh my God.
And then Jared Kelenic is going to take that step next year.
That's what I was going to say.
Phenomenal in the final month of the season. Mitch Haniger missed time last year. Like, this team is sneaky, man. This team is sneaky. And Adam Frazier, come on now.
Who's not making it from the AL East?
Baltimore.
Fair.
No, are you sure?
Yeah, pretty positive.
You ready for this one? Boston.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed that magical year. I'm just, as I'm saying that, I have all the thoughts coming in my head of like all of the people that were like, you were hating on the Sox. You're hating on the Sox. And guess what I'm doing? We're already talking about 2022.
We're going back.
Sox aren't making it, bro. Yes, I was wrong. They shoved it up my you-know-what last year. That's fine. They did it. They showed me.
You don't think it's sustainable. Podcast. You can say ass if you want.
Yeah, but it sounds weird.
All right.
They're not going to do it next year. They've done nothing to it. James Paxton isn't addressing it. It's not addressing it. And offensively, like, yes, they're great, but like, did they improve? Not really. They got JBJ. That's great. Really exciting. They got rid of Renfroe. I don't think this team got it. Everybody else in the AL East got better. Everyone else. But yeah, two teams have to not make it, right?
I'm not confident about these Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me push back here, though.
Yeah.
You say Paxton doesn't help. Waka, he's the difference. If Paxton's not the difference, then Michael Waka's the difference. I will land on that.
Oh,
all right.
You're not being facetious?
Are you being facetious?
Yeah, I'm being facetious.
Okay, good.